This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa. Hello viewers, I'm Barka Sisa with the Pulse of Africa news. Our top stories for today. Ethiopia transforms its cities through corridor development. Russia launched new African Partnership Department. Zimbabwe supports U.S. decision to deport undocumented immigrants. Rubio to skip G20 talks in South Africa. Now the news in detail. Ethiopia, under the leadership of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, is revitalizing its cities with urban corridor development, improving mobility, economic prospects, and enhanced livability. Investments in roads, walkways, and lighting are shaping walkable communities in Ethiopia that harmonize housing, businesses, and green spaces with sustainable modern infrastructure. As hub cities expand, integrated urban planning is crucial for developing resilient, productive, and livable urban spaces for the future, as highlighted by the Office of the Prime Minister. The Corridor Development Initiative, spearheaded by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, is transforming urban development and improving the quality of life in both urban and rural communities. Russia has announced the establishment of a Department for Partnership with Africa as part of its strategy to strengthen ties with the continent. The move marks another step in Moscow's pivot towards Africa, aligning with its broader foreign policy shift towards the global south amid its growing isolation from the West. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov inaugurated the department in Moscow, acknowledging past missteps and attributing Russia's diminished African engagement to post-Soviet financial constraints and calling it a strategic error that has since been corrected. Lavrov highlighted Russia's historical ties with Africa, referencing Soviet-era support for anti-colonial movements. The new department will oversee Russia's Africa policy through multilateral organizations, including the African Union and BRICS. Now to Namibia. Namibia's first woman president-elect, Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, will take office on March 21 in a ceremony to coincide with the country's 35th Independence Day. President-elect Nandi-Ndaitwah, incumbent vice president for Namibia and Southwest Africa People's Organization SWAPO, won the election in November with 57.31% of the votes. Her victory extended SWAPO's rule in Namibia since independence. She succeeds Lumumba, who has served as interim president for a year, since the days of the third president Hage Geingob in February of last year. Namibia gained independence from Germany in 1990. The Zimbabwean president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, expressed his government's support for U.S. decision to deport undocumented migrants, including those from Zimbabwe. The government of Zimbabwe supports the United States government's decision to repatriate and return our Zimbabwean citizens who may have been residing in the U.S. illegally, he said in a statement on X. According to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement report released late last year, 545 non-detained Zimbabwean citizens face deportation and are waiting for final orders. The U.S. has encouraged foreign governments to take appropriate steps to confirm the citizenship of non-citizens suspected to be their nationals. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu departed Abuja on Wednesday for Paris on a private visit en route to Addis Ababa. This was disclosed in a statement signed by Bayo Onunga, special advisor to the president. In Addis Ababa, President Tinubu will join Africa leaders at the 46th Ordinary Session of the Executive Council and the 38th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of the EU Heads of State.
Ethiopia is my blood, your story and our identity, ornamented by centuries of sacrifice. The story of resurgent Ethiopia and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel, all the time. Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Now to the U.S. U.S. allies and adversaries alike denounced President Donald Trump's proposal for the United States to take ownership of Gaza Strip that forced 2 million Palestinians to move to other countries. Global reaction to Trump's suggestion offered at a White House news conference Tuesday evening alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was swift and mostly universally opposed to the idea advanced by the president. Britain, China, Germany, Ireland, Russia, and Spain all say they continue to support a two-state solution, which is the creation of an independent Palestinian state. The two-state proposal, aimed at ending decades of Middle East conflict and wars, has also been the bedrock of U.S. policy in the region, even though Netanyahu's government opposes it. Finally, to G20. United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said he will skip Group of 20 talks in South Africa amid an escalating spat between Washington and Pretoria over a controversial land expropriation law. Rubio's announcement came days after U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to cut aid to South Africa over its passage of legislation allowing the seizure of land without compensation in certain circumstances. South Africa, which holds the G20 presidency until November 2025, is set to host a meeting of foreign ministers from February 20 to 21 in Johannesburg. That's all what we have for today, and Buzayo is ready for the business news.
Hello viewers, I'm Buzayo Bogala with the latest business news. First, the headlines. Kenya begins talk with IMF for new lending program. Tanzania attracts record 5 million tourists in 2024. Now the news in detail. Kenya has already started talks with International Monetary Fund officials to secure a new lending program when the current one expires in April. The East African nation needs continued support from the Washington, D.C. based lenders to keep its economy on track, Finance Minister John Mbadi said. Kenya's debt servicing costs have surged due to a borrowing spree over the past decade, while it abandoned a plan to raise revenue via tax hikes last year in the wake of deadly protests. Maybe before the current program comes to close in April, there should be some indicators whether we are starting a new program and that the new program will entail, he said. Now, Tanzania set a new tourism record in 2024, welcoming 5.36 million visitors and surpassing its targets of attracting 5 million tourists by 2025. According to Tanzanian Minister for Natural Resources and Tourism, PD Chena, out of the total number of tourists, 3.22 million were domestic travelers, while 2.14 million were international visitors. The tourism sector generated approximately $4 billion in revenue, though it fell short of the government's ambitious goal of $6 billion by December 2025. China attributed the impressive growth in tourists' number to the government's strategic initiatives aimed at rejuvenating the sector after the setbacks caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. That's all the news for today, and thank you for watching Pulse of Africa. Let me take you to the latest global commodity price news.
That's all from us today. Don't forget to check our website for updates on this and other stories. We thank you for joining us.
This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.